The Republic of Ghana has made a dramatic policy decision that could reshape its gold industry. The country has issued a mandate giving all foreign entities until April 30th to exit the small-scale gold sector. Ghana just made a bold and unexpected move. Every international gold buyer has been handed an ultimatum: leave by the deadline or face removal. No negotiations, no gradual rollout, just a firm cutoff. April 30th, 2025. But what would compel a stable West African nation to jeopardize billions in overseas capital? What hidden wealth has Ghana uncovered that it refuses to let foreign hands touch? Let's dive in. It all started as murmurs, subtle lines buried in state reports, mostly ignored by global media. Then the president of Ghana took the stage, gazed directly into the cameras, and said the unimaginable. A firm, irrevocable date, April 30th, 2025. That's when Ghana will put an end to years of external control in its domestic gold trade. After that, no non-Ghanaian, be it individual or corporation, will be permitted to purchase gold directly from artisanal and small-scale miners. No sales in open markets, no dealings in the bush, and no more unofficial arrangements. The statement stunned the room. But beneath the silence, ripples of disbelief spread through financial centers in London and Shanghai, and diplomatic offices in Brussels and Beijing. Because this wasn't a regulatory adjustment, this was a full-blown defiance. For decades, Ghana's small-scale gold sector, which accounts for almost half of the nation's output, has operated like an unguarded marketplace. Foreign agents came equipped with money, vehicles, and influence. They embedded themselves in a system where miners struggled to survive, creating a hidden empire held together not by rules but by technicalities. That empire is now being dismantled. This wasn't rolled out with fanfare. No policy briefings, no transition periods, just a decisive line drawn in golden dust. While foreign traders can still engage, they must do so through a new state-run agency, GoldBod. No more under-the-table dealings or unofficial transactions. To access Ghana's gold, one must now go through Ghana's official channel. The move startled many, but the signs had long been visible to those watching closely. Rural mining areas had transformed into foreign-operated zones, complete with overseas buses, imported machinery, and at times, foreign security forces. Miners were working on Ghanaian land but obeying orders in foreign tongues, Mandarin, Arabic, and others. And while vast quantities of gold left the country, state revenue remained scarce. For a resource-rich nation, this wasn't just problematic, it was enraging. For President Mohammed, it struck a nerve. Insiders suggest it wasn't one incident, but a steady pattern of exploitation and disrespect. Foreign traders entered protected zones with bribes. Gold shipments vanished from official logs. Smugglers evaded customs while schools near gold sites had no basic infrastructure. Adding to the frustration, Ghana had long been cautioned against scaring off investors. But that phrase began sounding like an excuse to keep the nation weak. So when the government made the announcement, it wasn't just enforcing a new rule, it was drawing a line in the sand. Ghana is not a resource pit. Ghana is not a playground. This is Ghana's gold. And the message landed. Whispers spread rapidly across gold-rich regions. Foreign buyers, some with more than 10 years of presence, began liquidating holdings. Others shifted tactics, proposing joint ventures with local businesses, launching training programs, and making community donations. But the Ghanaian government wasn't looking for handouts. It was demanding structural transformation. The deadline wasn't just about eliminating corruption. It was about ending a harmful dependency. For too long, foreign players had set the prices, evaded tax protocols, and funneled the profits abroad. Ghana had hosted the gold, but the wealth was hosted elsewhere. Yet here's the revolutionary part. Ghana didn't stop foreign involvement. It redesigned it. These international buyers aren't barred completely. They're being channeled through GoldBod, a centralized body serving as both regulator and watchdog. All gold sourced from small-scale miners must now be declared, priced transparently, and fully taxed. From an outsider's view, it might seem like Ghana is clamping down. But for many Ghanaians, especially the long-exploited miners, this feels like a long-overdue justice. a government standing with its citizens, not bowing to corporate interests. Of course, this hard stance isn't without consequence. International pushback has begun. Several embassies have reportedly sought clarification. Others are quietly crafting cautionary notes about Ghana's investment climate. But Ghana remains undeterred. Because this moment isn't about appearances. It's about reconstructing a broken framework that was never meant to uplift the country in the first place. Let's be real. You don't impose a non-negotiable deadline like April 30th unless the problem is severe. And Ghana's gold trade wasn't just flawed, it was hemorrhaging. Year after year, billions in gold vanished without explanation. Not due to accounting errors or market volatility, but from illegal extractions and untraceable exports. The losses were staggering, $2.3 billion every single year. These weren't just numbers, they were signs. Discrepancies in export records, miners reporting below-market payments, export logs failing to align with local transactions, and most telling of all, a treasury running on fumes while the mines remained busy. To understand how so much money could disappear, you must understand the shadow gold economy. Please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to our channel for more content on Black history, culture, and global identity. Now, let's keep going. The process starts in the earth, specifically, not the large, mechanized mines owned by multinational firms, but the gritty, unregulated pits scattered across rural Ghana. These are often dug by small teams using rudimentary tools. Sometimes they are legal. Often they are not. But they're always desperate to sell. That's where the foreign buyers come in. Not through formal trade deals or diplomatic ties, but in dusty pickup trucks with envelopes full of cash. No suits, no briefcases. Just lodges in remote towns, fluent local dialects, and fast payments. They offer more than locals can, but always less than the real market value. It's a game of survival, for the miner, for the buyer, and for everyone caught in between. The miner earns just enough to scrape by. The buyer takes the gold. The government receives nothing. From there, the gold travels, sometimes hidden in modified car parts, other times flown out under false manifests, and often routed through countries where paperwork is easy to forge and enforcement is easy to bribe. Dubai, Istanbul, Hong Kong. These are not amateur smugglers. They are part of a sophisticated network backed by foreign interests that know how to work Ghana's system. Investigative reports have linked some of these schemes to Chinese-backed syndicates, Middle Eastern buyers, and even complicit local officials who pocket bribes for their silence. But this story isn't just about the gold. It's about what that $2.3 billion could have done. That money could have rebuilt schools in mining towns like Wasser and Menfi. It could have funded mobile healthcare in remote Ashanti communities. It could have delivered clean water to villages suffering from polluted rivers. Instead, it paid for luxury homes in Dubai, secret bank accounts in Hong Kong, and vanished into an invisible global market. And here's the cruel irony. Ghana never needed these foreign traders in the first place. The country has the labor, the skills, and the infrastructure to manage its own gold. What it lacked was enforcement. Or perhaps, the courage to enforce it. Until now, the $2.3 billion leak wasn't just a tragedy. It was the final straw. It gave President Mohammed's team the evidence and momentum needed to act decisively. When asked about the clampdown, one official put it bluntly, "We're not banning trade. We're banning theft." Still, the fallout has begun. Trade lobbies are warning of disruptions. Some foreign investors are hinting at legal retaliation. Certain nations have subtly expressed fears that Ghana's boldness could rattle investor confidence across the region. But the statistics are undeniable. For every dollar Ghana gains through foreign investment, it's losing 3 through illicit gold flows. The figures speak louder than diplomatic reassurances. And on the ground, the truth is well known. Talk to any miner in the Western region, and they'll recount tales of foreign traders bribing police, gold disappearing from secured storage, entire consignments being diverted before they ever reach the port at Tema. They are not surprised by the $2.3 billion loss figure. They are surprised it took this long for anyone to react. Now, with foreign traders being shown the door and GoldBod gearing up to take full control of the industry, the silent plundering might finally be drawing to a close. But halting the theft is only the first battle, because the fallout goes beyond money. The environment has paid a heavy price. And while stolen funds might be recovered, polluted rivers won't heal overnight. Now comes the real test. What impact will all this have on Ghana? Policy on paper is meaningless unless it affects people's lives. With Ghana having set its boundary, wielded its leverage, and redefined its gold governance model, the question is no longer what has been done, but what will follow. Because the shockwaves of this decision won't stop with foreign operators. They'll reach villages, government ministries, local businesses, and the everyday citizen. The most immediate effect will be revenue recovery. With GoldBod plugging the leaks in the system, the Ghanaian government stands to reclaim billions in previously lost income. And this isn't theoretical money. It's tangible revenue that can finally be taxed, allocated, and reinvested. Ministries won't need to rely on international donors for basic water projects in mining towns. District hospitals won't have to wait years for essential medical equipment. The challenge was never one of capacity. It was about access to capital. And now, that capital is coming home. Yet financial gains alone won't transform the nation. What truly matters is how those resources are deployed. One of the core promises of this overhaul is to redirect gold revenue toward the very communities that have long been neglected. Regions like Upper Denkara, Presti, and Bibiani. For generations, they watched fortunes in gold exit their soil, while their roads crumbled and their schools went dark. This reform could reverse that story, finally ensuring that mining profits benefit the communities they come from, not just the capital city. In fact, Ghana's revised mineral revenue policy stipulates that districts engaged in mining activity are legally entitled to a share of the royalties. It's a mechanism that's been overlooked or ignored for years. But now, with gold transactions being monitored and tracked via GoldBod, these payments can't simply disappear. They will be recorded, made public, and monitored by the people themselves. That shift isn't just economic, it's psychological. Because for decades, artisanal miners were treated as expendable, branded as outlaws, ignored by the system, and excluded from formal recognition. But the truth is they are essential. These small-scale workers are responsible for over 1/3 of Ghana's gold output. By making them part of the national strategy, by acknowledging their contributions, the government is not only increasing their earnings but affirming their dignity. That matters. It means these miners won't have to operate in secrecy anymore, scraping together deals with buyers who don't speak their language or care for their safety. With official pricing, legal protection, and state-backed channels, mining becomes a respectable profession, not a last resort. This also unlocks massive opportunities within the domestic economy. With foreign traders out of the picture, Ghanaian businesses can now take their place in the gold value chain. From refining and logistics to jewelry making and exports, the sector's future goes beyond extraction. It's about transformation. With proper backing, a whole new generation of jobs, industries, and entrepreneurs could emerge. But perhaps the most profound change is political. This move could realign the power relationship between the state and its citizens. For far too long, the reality was that Ghana had the gold, but others had the power. That dynamic is shifting. When people see their leaders challenge entrenched foreign interests to safeguard national wealth, it builds more than institutional credibility. It builds national pride. And let's not underestimate the example this sets for Ghana's youth. In a country burdened with joblessness and broken dreams, this moment stands out. It shows that governance can prioritize national interest over foreign agendas. For young people raised on failed promises, this reform is more than a policy, it's a turning point. It signals that the future doesn't have to be sacrificed for short-term survival. Still, nothing is automatic. Implementation will determine everything. If GoldBod is compromised by corruption, if red tape slows the system, if the wealthy elite redivert benefits back to themselves, this opportunity will rot like many before it. But if the vision holds, if funds are transparently used, if miners are empowered, if local economies flourish, then this decision won't just shape Ghana's future. It will redefine its identity. Remember this, Ghana may have struck the match, But it's not the only one holding a flame. A quiet revolution is unfolding across West Africa, not with military coups or loud declarations, but with policies, with legislation, with brave choices that mark a deeper transformation. Africa is done asking permission to control its own riches. What Ghana did with its gold, other nations are now doing with oil, uranium, cotton, even highways. The continent is awakening to a hard truth. Africa was never poor, only poorly managed. Look at Burkina Faso. Once written off as a failed state, it is now remaking its financial system under Captain Ibrahim Traore. Gold that used to be funneled into European banks is now being processed locally. Traore didn't just expel the French military, he removed the middlemen. His government has launched a state refinery, a national gold purchasing body, and rejected IMF dictates. All signs of a continent retaking control. In Mali, the change is equally bold. The government cancelled Western military pacts and banned select NGOs accused of interfering in internal affairs. Beneath these political moves is something bigger, the pursuit of economic independence. Mali is now forging new gold partnerships with countries like Russia and China, chosen not for ideology, but because they don't carry the burden of colonial history. Then there's Niger. For decades, it's uranium-powered Europe while Nigerians lived in darkness. Now, amid regional turmoil and a reshuffling of alliances, Niger is demanding to know who benefits from its radioactive wealth. And the answer isn't Nigerians. This isn't a coincidence, it's a trend. And Ghana's gold overhaul fits squarely within it. President Mohamed's actions weren't just about cleaning up a sector, they were a declaration. A declaration other African leaders are watching closely. If Ghana can remove foreign gold buyers and still maintain economic stability, it sets a powerful precedent, one that threatens those who've profited from African dependency for decades. For years, African nations have followed a script: borrow from the West, extract for the West, export to the West, and in return, receive debt, underdevelopment, and dependence. Now, a new playbook is being written, one where African governments control trade terms, process their own resources, and retain value within their own borders. At the heart of that strategy are actions like Ghana's gold reform. Do you believe the time has come for Africa to change its course permanently? What do you think will happen if the rest of the continent follows Ghana's lead? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Will the foreign powers strike back? And if you want more content like this, hit subscribe and turn on the bell icon. We're committed to sharing the untold stories, the culture, history, and legacy of Black greatness. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay tuned.